Sally, it is so nice to meet you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So today I have Sally Mueller, who is founder of Womaness, and you are joining me out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yes, snowy
Awesome.
Minneapolis.
Well, that is where I'm from. That is where my heart is. So if I could be with you in person, I would love to be. But I'm not shocked to have a CPG founder that is in Minneapolis, and you are doing amazing things in women's health. So I first want to begin to say thank you for the work that you are doing with Womaness.
Oh, thank you. That really means a lot. I really appreciate that.
I first found you actually on LinkedIn. You have an amazing way of positioning the
Hmm.
company. And I think in the space and time that we're in right now, you should be getting attention. And I'm glad that you are, because there hasn't been a lot of attention in women's health, and especially in the menopause space. And I read something the other day where you were saying that you're proud of being a Gen Xer. And I am too. So, yay for Gen Xers, right?
Absolutely. I'm almost a baby boomer. I just missed that cutoff, but I am proud of being a Gen Xer and all the things that all of us amazing women are doing, right?
Yeah,
To
there.
advance women's health or, all the different industries that we're in.
So, tell me about Womaness and how you started it and really what that story is behind it.
Yeah. Well, I spent, a good part of my career building brands for women, mainly in fashion, a little bit in beauty, but had amazing career at Target for almost 24, almost 25 years, I should say. And oversaw like the designer program that made Target really, I guess put on the map for fashion and design. It was a phenomenal career. Left 12 years ago to start my own business, and in that 12 years had the unique opportunity of bringing several brands into retail. One was Who What Wear, which is a fashion brand, and then another one was Burst, which is a clean skincare brand that's now sold at Target and Burst.com and Walmart and so many other places. So
Mhm.
again, had a lot of experience building brands, but Womaness really came about from my own personal journey through menopause. So I was in my late 40s, I think maybe 47, 48, as I recall, going through, I knew I was in menopause, like perimenopause,
Mhm.
but I didn't know menopause was more than hot flashes. I thought it was, I thought it was just hot flashes, which I wasn't experiencing, but I was experiencing all these other symptoms. And after a couple years of like struggling with, sleep issues and libido and just all of the changes that a lot of women experience, I thought, I'm going to finally sign up for a physical.
Mhm.
And I wasn't getting, a lot of good response from doctors that knew a lot about menopause. So I thought, I'm going to go to the best. I'm going to go to the Mayo Clinic, which isn't too far from my home. And the doctor was super knowledgeable about menopause. And she recommended that I try some products available on Amazon. So I went home that night and checked out the products. And that was, for me, just an aha moment of thinking, oh my gosh, there is nothing out here that even appeals to me. I could tell the formulations weren't necessarily made with clean ingredients. The names of the product were very off-putting, very masculine. Everything about it was just unappealing. And I thought, oh my gosh, someone has got to tackle this space. And it should, I should do it because I've been looking for white spaces my whole career and building these brands, but never for women my age. So that was really the start of it. And then Michelle, my co-founder, and I were getting together in New York just for drinks. And I mentioned the story to her, and she became super excited about just the stage of life that all of her friends were in and how they were leaving their jobs to start something new. And there was this all kind of like this renewed sense of empowerment. And so we took that insight and my experience and came really up with Womaness, which is all about innovative products, information, and inspiration, because women need to be celebrated during this stage of life, and they need, they really do need the support through a community, and they deserve, I should say, clean, innovative products.
And in the phase of menopause, I think in our minds we think, oh, it's just like this short period of time, but it
Right,
can
right.
last a decade.
Absolutely. In fact, perimenopause can last 4 to 7 years on average. Menopause can last a decade, but you're really technically never out of menopause. A lot of women will say, I'm through that, which you are through maybe the worst of it.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're in menopause, you're always kind of in menopause. And you spend about 40% of your life in menopause when you really add all of that up. So it's
Wow.
it's a big chunk of your life, and there's no reason to go through it, not talking about it, feeling alone, feeling stigmatized. So that's why we're here to really change the conversation. And women do want to talk about it, and they do want to be celebrated, and they're excited about the stage of life. So we're really flipping it on its head, and we're all about what we call menopositivity.
Oh, I love that. Menopositivity. That is a great one. Renita Das, I interviewed her, and she calls it the she economy,
Yes,
and
yeah,
that there is such thing as the she economy. We're over 50% of we have 50% of the buying power in
yeah,
the
yeah,
world,
yeah.
and we should have more emphasis on the things that we go through as
Right,
women.
right. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
wow, of what you're doing in terms of you went to Mayo Clinic. I mean, that's creme de la creme of healthcare.
Right.
And not everyone has access to that. Not everyone has access to supplements can be extremely expensive, and
Hmm.
that a lot of us are on a budget. So can you tell me about when you created this line, about some of the factors that you considered when developing the product line?
Yeah. So, we did a lot of research with women before we started product development. We had our own idea of what we wanted Womaness to be, which was a total solution to
Mhm.
menopause. So, we wanted to tackle the major symptoms. But in that process of talking to women, they told us, please make the line affordable. And of course, we
Mm,
were going to, but it was so important to hear that, to reinforce why it was why we needed to make sure that our pricing was still very accessible. We wanted to be available in all the major retailers so that she did have access to the product.
yeah.
But women told us, I want to buy multiple products for multiple symptoms, and I can't do that if the products are too expensive. So everything we offer is under $40.
Mm,
There might be a few products on our site that are, just kind of testing, that are a little bit more like more expensive vibrator, but they're still very
mhm.
affordable. But the core line is all under $40. And, we really tried to bridge the need of clinically proven ingredients that are going to be more expensive,
Mhm.
and putting those ingredients in at the most active levels with keeping our retails at the lowest level. So, in some cases, I'm sure you have some, people following you, listening to this, that are good business people. They understand, like, oh, your margin must have been squeezed. And
Yeah.
absolutely, our margin was squeezed, but we felt it was so important to offer products that were affordable, but still very useful. We knew that they were going to be efficacious. And that's really the whole crux of the product line, is to make sure that we really always achieve that balance between affordability and efficaciousness, or
And then,
efficacy, I should say. Yeah.
yeah, well, and part of efficacy is that can you use it for the duration?
Yes.
And if you can only afford it for 2 months, you're not going to see any
Right.
of the
Right,
effects.
Patty. That's exactly it. Yeah.
So that makes a world of difference when you
Right.
think of a subscription that, gosh, I can only afford it for 3 months out of the year. Well, that really doesn't do you any good when we're talking about a time in our life where you would be on something for 10 years
Right.
plus potentially. So what are the different categories of, so you have the category of womaness, but what are the different products that fall within
Yeah,
the
so
line?
we have about 16 products, and half of them are skin and body products because your skin changes all over your body, not just your face.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of women don't realize that their skin on their body changes. It's almost like until it's changed. It's a
Mm-hmm.
dramatic change when you go through menopause because of the drop in estrogen. So we really focused on building out a line of skin and body products. Then we have 3 supplements, and those supplements are for all around menopause. So we have our menopause supplement, and that has like pycnogenol in it, which is a clinically proven ingredient. Really incredible supplement. And then we have a sleep supplement called Let Me Sleep that has a timed release melatonin because you have trouble staying asleep, not as much going to sleep in menopause. And then we have a hair, skin, and nail and joint supplement called Active Glow. And that has a clinical version of turmeric. So it's, and among other ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I hope your audience checks them out on our site. We have a ton of information. And then the last part of our line is sexual wellness. So we have 2 vaginal moisturizers. One is a water base that includes hyaluronic acid, and then it's called Daily Be Soothe. And then we have Cocoa Bliss, which is our newest vaginal moisturizer. It's a coconut based oil, which a lot of women like how rich and creamy it is. It's just really hydrating. And then we have a vibrator called Gold Vibes. And then we have a
I love
couple
these names.
personal, yeah, I know. All the names are supposed to be kind of fun and cheeky.
Yeah.
And then we do have incontinence pads called go-go liners because a lot of women experience incontinence,
Mm-hmm.
especially menopause, but even, postnatal, a lot of women start to experience incontinence issues. And so they're really great go-go liners. And then we have wipes that are pH balanced and, good for the environment and that kind of thing. So our line is really, we say it's 3 categories, but I would say the sexual wellness is kind of / personal care as well. It's
That is so,
head to toe and everything in between.
it really is. And some of those things that, so I interviewed, and you were on a panel with Dr. Lindsay Harper,
Yes, yes,
founder of Rosie, and women's sexual health, I think is,
yes,
I mean, obviously an area that is underserved as well.
right,
And very nice to see that in general it's underserved, but as you are moving into menopause, that it actually is drastically underserved because there's a lack of awareness
right, right.
that your libido will drop, that you will experience vaginal dryness. I mean, some of these things that like you're entering into this phase of life and there's no awareness of it.
Right. And you start to think, is it just me?
Right.
And then it affects your mood, it affects your self confidence, your communication with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a vicious cycle. So,
Yes.
yes, we loved Lindsay Harper. She was participating in a panel with us. We also work with her friend, Dr. Javed, and Somi
Yes.
Javed, who owns her MD. And she's done a great job, even with our community, explaining what happens. Your vagina walls really change with the drop of estrogen and it thins
Mm.
out. And it can be very a source of, why there's such, so many complaints about painful sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so, vaginal moisturizers really help in that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
But if women are still experiencing, painful sex and it's really preventing them from doing, having sex more,
Mm-hmm.
I recommend that they look into other options too.
Mm-hmm.
Even, on our site, we have a lot of educational material, but we know some really incredible experts that are there to really help women and do offer a lot of other treatments.
That's excellent. So you have in your messaging, you also talk about that education and how
Yes.
important it
Yeah,
is. What
absolutely.
are how do you where do you direct consumers to? Is it first to social or newsletters? Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, we have a blog that
Okay.
is on our site called The Nest, and it's where I don't think you could miss it. It's right on our site, but it's where we house all of that content. So we have interviews with Dr. Gervais that I mentioned. We have interviews with Dr. Kapoor, a doctor at the Mayo Clinic, a sleep expert that has worked with us that is, just phenomenal. And we have all of these different experts that have worked with us that have provided original content. And we're really proud of our content because it's vetted, it's broken down into bite-sized pieces as well. So we have a YouTube channel that houses a lot of the interviews we've done with all of those experts that I just mentioned. And then social, it's difficult to get in a long form social. So many times it's just to direct to our blog or to our YouTube channel. But our newsletters, our emails, I really encourage your audience to sign up for it. We do, I think, a really great job, including a lot of educational materials in our newsletters. And a lot of women really compliment us for that information. And so that's another way to get access to all of the educational materials that we're publishing.
I think from a consumer standpoint, when I see a brand that is investing in the thought leaders that have the education and the experience, and it's not always self-promoting of the product,
Right.
but of the indication, it just gives me a sense of, I trust that brand.
Right.
And when I look at your brand and read what you have and where you are in the space, I mean, incredible amount of trust there. And in the space that you're in, it definitely demands more trust than, my jean jacket that I'm wearing. But
yes,
when you're putting it on your body, in your body, you want to know that you're doing that research. So that's really,
absolutely. It's
really
so
cool.
important to build that trust. And I think that trust comes from our ingredients that we've chosen. We have a lot of information on our site about our ingredients. Obviously those experts that I mentioned, but also a lot of other reviews from our customers. We get constant feedback, right, from our customers about our products. And, sometimes we don't always even publicize those because they're just emails directly from the customer to maybe me or Michelle. But we know deep down that our customers are loving our products. And, that goes a long way because they're probably telling their friends about our brand and our products. So it creates that groundswell that we want to continue to create.
Well, definitely. I think that when you think of talking with your sister or your girlfriends, we don't have access to healthcare providers where we can just pick up the phone and call them.
Right.
So a lot of it is the table talk, coffee talk, wine talk conversation.
Right. Absolutely.
And if you can get your brand, your products being used by one person, one woman, then that goes really far.
Yeah, absolutely. We keep saying we're building this brand and this community one woman at a time. And we really believe in that because it's such a personal journey and it's, we love that personal connection. So we really encourage our customers to reach out to us and, we're happy to do one-on-one consultations. I mean, we're not doctors, but we know the basics and we can also refer women to different experts that we work with. So a lot of like our sleep expert that I mentioned, Dr. Shelby Harris does telehealth services too around sleep. Okay. So a lot of women, at events kind of line up to talk to her and she's so great, it's helpful to know there's options out there. And like you said, that they're accessible. They're not, you're not going to get on a 4-month waiting list.
Right. Because you're having the symptoms every day.
Right. Yeah. And you need it now. You need it now when you're not feeling great and you're having issues, you want solutions very quickly. So, and you deserve them.
You absolutely deserve them. So what's next for the company? Are you working on new products or anything exciting that you can share with the audience and then to look forward to?
Yeah, well, we launched at Ulta Beauty in May of this year. So we're really looking forward to building a deeper relationship with that organization. We did events with them in October. We did this whole menopausivity tour. We went to Dallas and Chicago and LA. So we want to continue doing those kind of panels where we bring in experts. And so we have some fun ideas planned for the spring. So we'll keep you posted so you can share with your listeners. In terms of new products, we do have a few new products coming out in the spring, which
Exciting.
we'll announce soon. And, I would say we also just continue to bring in more experts and really deepen our relationship with our existing experts in the desire to really help educate more women. But I think with women wanting to be more physically, we call it in real life at events in person, that's such a great opportunity for us to go on these road shows and bring our story and our experts out to the everyday woman. So hopefully we'll be able to do more of that beyond even what we're doing with Ulta. I mean, in an ideal world, I would have a bus and I would just go from market to market. The problem is I have to also get work done. So I would need someone, if anyone wants to drive me to these different markets, I'll take you up on the offer. So I can just sit back and work, and then I can meet women and then get back on the bus and go to the next city. But we love it. We love meeting our customer and, just hearing their feedback. So it's so rewarding. I'm sure you feel the same way with your business.
Oh my gosh, it is so rewarding when you can touch someone's life that there's that positive testimonial. There's nothing better. And it seems that it always happens in like a time when you are down too. You're like, oh, I needed that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like they helped you more than you helped them, maybe even in that time.
Exactly.
So looking at shifting gears to more of the business conversation, there's so many options when creating products in commerce today. You could go digital only. You could do the QVC route, subscription, and you chose to go direct to retailer. And was that, knowing your background at Target, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm curious what your analysis was when you started with Michelle, and if you looked at other areas of launching the product.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, we wanted to be omni-channel, so we knew we wanted a successful e-commerce site. We wanted to eventually be on Amazon because everyone shops on Amazon. And then we wanted to be in the best retailers in the world. So between Target and Ulta Beauty and we're in select GNC stores too with our supplements. It's been really great. And, so important to have that distribution. So, not only does it help build more awareness for our brand, but it just pays off our mission of being all about accessibility. We don't want to just be in e-commerce only. We really want to be available for women. So there's all sorts of ways, though, as you're building a brand, to go about with the go-to-market strategy. So if I was to do it over, I might have done it a little differently. Now that I know a lot more about our customer. I mean, our customer really does love to shop online. She does want to still shop in store, but she likes the marriage of educational content and product, which she can get more easily online than she can in a retail setting. At least the way retailers are set up today. Maybe in the future, there will be much more educational content. Who knows? Maybe they'll even have concierge, at retailers that are all about women's wellness. That's my dream. But it's, it's been great to be at all kind of three channels. And then we did launch recently on QVC, which was great. Yeah, we did our first live show in September, and that was really exciting. And we were the first, I think, modern menopause brand on QVC. And it was really exciting to, just to be part of that, that movement of finally bringing women's health to every channel possible, and to be able to talk about menopause was really if you can believe it, that was pretty earth shattering. So
No, that's crazy to me. That
I
I mean,
know.
even the hosts would be your target market, right? I mean,
Yes.
your
Yeah.
target market are QVC users,
Right.
and then the hosts are your target market too. And for you to be one of the first companies to talk about it
I know.
is mind
I
blowing.
know. I know. But there's a lot of, there's a lot of laws out there around what you could say, what you
Oh,
can't
sure.
say,
Hmm.
that they have to respect. And, even I was just talking to someone about, even big tech today, you
Hmm.
can't use the word vagina.
Hmm.
It's very limiting on what you can advertise.
Hmm.
Um, with Facebook, Instagram, even on Amazon at times. So
Hmm.
it's very tricky. We can't always tell our real story because we have to,
Hmm.
you know, soften the language. And
Sure.
our language isn't, as you know, it's very
Not
friendly.
vulgar,
No,
right?
it's very friendly and it's just
Hmm.
normal language.
Right.
But even that sometimes doesn't get, our ads are not approved because of that.
Yes.
So there's a lot of old stigmas out there that are still kind of reigning a lot of the tech companies, unfortunately. But
So is it personal care that you have to really focus on instead of?
I think
I
it's
mean,
easier with beauty. Supplements
okay,
can be a little tricky. And then, of course, sexual wellness is tricky.
sexual
So,
wellness. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay, that seems so
But
interesting.
we're a total solution. So we don't want to just talk about one part of our line. We want to talk
Right,
about the whole solution that we bring.
right. Yeah, that's. I mean, and each product is complementary to the
Right.
other,
Right.
and
Exactly.
whatever you walk into, then you could keep on
Right.
progressing with a product line. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
And
It
so,
will look different in the next 5 years, I think,
yeah,
when
let's
finally.
hope so. I think that it will. I think that there's a lot of other founders like you that are very committed to raising awareness of the issues and not even. I hate to call them issues because when you're going through a phase of life, it's not an issue. It's
Right.
life,
Right.
uh, and that education piece. It's so nice that it can be trusted.
Right.
Uh, and can we talk a little bit about that? Of from being a healthcare company, uh, how are you finding those key opinion leaders and those trusted advisors? Is that from your time in industry, or are you exploring all options? Share with us that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been meeting so many experts,
Mm-hmm.
doctors along the way. And in
Mm-hmm.
some cases, they've helped give us advice on product. We can't promote that because they still do research. So they have to kind of keep that church and state separation. But in a lot of cases, they are helpful with telling us what their patients are looking for, what ingredients to avoid. So, it's just been a great network
Interesting.
to build. And usually one doctor kind of leads to, they have their own network. So many times we meet other experts, other key opinion leaders through them. And, just networking on our own too. That's been so, yeah, the world of women's health was new to Michelle and I. We had worked in different industries before, but nothing ever in like women's health. So it's been so fun to learn that side and build that just a whole nother community of experts,
So
almost like consultants for us.
yes, definitely. That's what I'm selfishly asking that question because
Yeah.
I'm doing it with Checkable right now
Right. Right.
of building out that advisory board, and I've had really great folks to get us prepared for our clinical trial. But now that we're going to be winding that down soon, now it's the in market opportunity.
Yeah.
And when I look at what you've built, and that's why I have this podcast and the Persevered podcast is to raise awareness of what we're doing, but interview thought leaders with
Right.
Checkable Health because it's so hard to access. It's hard to take in as much information. We can't be reading all the time.
Right. Right.
It's hard to find, get an appointment with your doctor, but to have a trusted brand, and
Right.
you've done
Right.
smashing at it.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
hitting it
Yeah,
out of the park.
for me, because I went to the Mayo Clinic, I
Mm-hmm.
early on linked in with the doctor that was overseeing. She's an
Oh,
author, so now, ironically, my doctor at Mayo Clinic said, "You need to reach out to her. I love what you're doing. Reach out to her." She just kept encouraging me, and I did,
yeah.
and she responded like in 5 minutes. And we
Amazing.
did a Zoom. I'll never forget. It was so exciting. Like, I'm
Yeah.
talking to this very senior doctor at the Mayo Clinic about my brand. She was so encouraging. She was so excited and, just happy for me
Yeah.
and thought it was great for women. And so
Mhm.
then, I said it my dream to come full circle back to the Mayo Clinic because you're the reason why I started the brand.
Yep.
So once I told her my story, and then she was like, "Oh, yes, of course. We want to, definitely provide content." And
Mhm.
so she
Good
loaned me
for
one of
you.
her top experts. So it does take a lot of time to build that network, but I think
Mhm.
women do want to help other women for the
Mhm.
most part. And you just create this web of all these different connections.
That is, as an entrepreneur, we have to be unafraid of asking for
Right.
one contacts, and then two, once you get that contact, reach out to them because the worst that they can say is no.
Right. Right.
But when they say yes, the reward is so big.
I
That
know.
I
Yeah.
love hearing that.
Yeah. No, it's very rewarding.
And people want to help you,
Yeah.
especially when you're setting out to
Right.
solve a problem.
Exactly. Exactly. That their patients are experiencing.
Yes. Oh, totally. There's like so many gaps in healthcare that I think that, and doctors just have so much on their plates right now.
Right. Right.
And to be a physician founder is nearly impossible. When you find those unicorns, it's like, how do you have the time to do that? So I think that they're very supportive
Right.
of those of us that
Right.
aren't MDs, but we're going out to solve a problem the best that
Yeah.
we can, and we
Right.
can use their help.
Right.
So creating awareness of an emerging brand is
Hmm.
really, really hard. And we've talked about the education. We've talked about launching into retail. I'm curious, when you first set out on this go-to-market strategy, can you tell us a little bit about that awareness campaign and what you did, and even what you would have done differently to build awareness around the brand?
Yeah. Well, we always knew press was going to be an important investment to make.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to find the best PR people. We had to really think about our story that we were pitching. And so that's where we really started with, let's get as much, let's get the press excited about our story. Let's hit every possible angle, every possible publication, news outlet.
Yeah.
We've been on local news, we've been on national TV shows, we've been on, in print publications. And it was so fun when we finally launched to see what some of those did to help our sales. Cause then we're like,
Mhm.
okay, bingo, we have to invest in more of this.
Yes.
And we know our woman is still consuming traditional media along with digital media.
Mhm.
And that's why it's hard, because our segment that we're going after is still watching the nightly news. She still likes print magazines, but she's probably now transitioning to digital magazines, and word of mouth is really important. So early on, we started an ambassador program. We didn't really know what we were doing. So we've kind of been fine tuning that as we've gone. But I think things just take a while too. I guess I didn't realize how long things would take to get not executed, but just get the inertia
Right.
behind some of the really good ideas. And it takes so much longer. I had come from fashion, and it was like millennials and Gen Z. And if you find the right influencer and you have the right content piece blow up on Instagram back then, or TikTok now,
Yeah.
you're going to light a fire under the brand immediately. Well, that doesn't
Right.
happen as much with this. It's like a
Mhm.
lot of it is that one person, that one woman at a time.
Yeah.
And so, we've made a lot of headway. in a short period of time, but we just keep thinking about how far we have to go. Because there's 50 million women going through menopause just in the US, and we're probably reaching still just a sliver of them.
Wow. That
You
is
know?
that is a huge target market.
Yeah, it is. It is a huge target market. So how do we reach more of them, especially with the situation going on at Facebook? Are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of women leaving Facebook? They keep telling us that's how they found out about our brand.
Mm.
But, Facebook is very expensive right now. So what's
Mm-hmm.
happening, what's happening there? Is it
Right.
because they're desperate themselves for charging more for advertising? But it's,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to go where it's efficient too, to reach our woman. What works and what's efficient. So we're finding a lot of other ways to reach her.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
there's
in person.
the in-person. There's a lot that we can do storytelling wise.
Sure.
YouTube is really great. It's not that Facebook and Instagram aren't still working for us, but it's just, it's going to be interesting to see long term what happens. A lot of brands are talking about diversification of media, but we also want to make sure we don't get too diversified where we're kind of peanut butter spreading everything, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you only have so much money. So
Yep.
we really have to pick the right channels. But we do, we know our woman loves a lot of other things in her life. It's not just showing up when she's searching for menopause. It's like, she likes to cook. She likes
Mm-hmm.
to, perhaps she's into tennis or pickleball. You kind of think
Mm-hmm.
about the whole lifestyle of the woman, and it opens up other ways to reach her. So
Right.
you have
Right.
to really, it's like an ethnographic study.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
And
and it's
I love that, but it's hard at the same time, you know?
yes, and there's so many options, and
Yeah.
then you have a budget. So
Right,
where are
right,
you going to allocate budget to?
right. And not everything is performance based. So even if you decide to spend money on something, it might not be tangible that it's giving an ROI, giving you an ROI. It might just be
Mm-hmm.
building awareness, but you're not seeing it directly hit sales yet. But in the end, maybe it is helping sales over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tricky
Well,
as a founder and as, Michelle and I holding the purse strings of the company. You've got to make these right investments, and there's not going to be like the perfect solution. You just have to make the best decision possible.
right, and then you have to move swiftly.
Yeah, right,
That's
right.
part of being a startup. You don't have all this
Yeah,
time to sit and
right.
over analyze,
Yeah,
right? It's
exactly.
let's go.
Yeah, we're not a multi-billion-dollar company that can take their time.
When I hear you say that, like something that we look at is our conversions, and that seems to be something that is perplexing sometimes because
Hmm.
sometimes we'll convert really well, but then other times they will come and it's more of an information gathering.
Yeah, yeah,
And have you seen that being on a retail? Well, you had mentioned omni-channel.
right.
Have you seen that that's the best for your brand? Because where are you seeing that they first get to know you? Is it digital or is it retail?
It's primarily digital, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think as we get bigger and more established at Ulta, they'll see us
Mhm.
there maybe first.
Mhm.
But I think overall, they're either searching for some solution and they happen to find us, right?
Mhm.
Or they hear someone talk about us, and it could
Mhm.
even be a social post, right? Could be
Sure.
an influencer or someone.
Mhm.
And so I think and press has been a huge way to bring them in, into the, we call it funnel.
Yep.
And then once she's there, she might do research and then come back later, or she might buy right away. It just really depends. But yeah, there's just a lot of different ways that we see her coming in, but I would say it's primarily digital.
Mhm. That awareness with PR, it's interesting. We haven't paid for PR yet, and I
Uh-huh.
had an advisor once tell me you never pay for a story or you'll never
Yeah.
need PR. And now that I'm getting to this phase of, okay, the next year we're going to need to have a much bigger reach.
Yeah.
Media is really the only way to do that. And people don't pick up, it's, what is that, like telereporter, um, whatever it is, where you can just get it pushed to you, what
Oh, yeah,
reporters
yeah,
are looking
yeah.
for.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the chances of them picking up
On
your
the
like
wire.
email.
Yeah, we've done that
Yeah.
where we've put a press release out on the wire and they pick it up, like Associated Press kind of idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's rare though.
we're
It
not
has to
paying
be
for the stories either. It's the
mhm,
agency
the
or the
agency.
person that's pitching the stories, securing it, has
Yes.
expertise, has those relationships. That's worth investing in. But
Agreed.
I wouldn't necessarily at this stage do like pay to play stories where,
Mhm.
we'll do, an advertorial for you. You have to pay $25,000 to get an article.
Right.
It's a little too risky too at this stage.
Mhm.
Like every
Mhm.
every $1,000 really does make a difference.
Completely. So find yourself a good PR agency. And out of curiosity, did you go with one local in Minneapolis or did you go out to New York?
New York,
Okay.
but I'm sure there's some good ones in LA and depending on your
Oh yeah.
industry. Yeah, but we have some great PR partners. So,
They do a great job, Sally. I mean, really, that's how I found you, is
yeah,
all
thank
of your
you.
great PR. So you are a 10 out of 10 when in my book
Yeah, thank
of
you.
how you are putting yourself out in the press. So the last question that I want to ask is, this is a persevere podcast. So as entrepreneurs, we are persevering through the hardest of times. And looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently? And even though you didn't, you persevered, you kept going. Is there anything that comes to mind when I say that? If it's retail, building a team, fundraising, you name it,
Yeah.
whatever
Oh
comes to
my
your mind.
gosh. I mean, there's every day I think of things that I would have done differently. That's a tough question to answer. Um, and then I try not to look backwards
Yeah,
because that can be depressing too.
yeah,
So,
yep,
and then, externally people say, oh my gosh, you've accomplished so much. But let's face it, we're in a business where it's never good enough, right?
yes,
So it's
yep.
never, you never meet your budgets. At least we
Mhm,
don't, never.
mhm,
We'd
mhm.
say we're going to hit something and we try so hard and then some paper cut happens. We call them paper cuts.
Yes. Oh, I like
Um,
that paper cut.
there's that
Yeah.
buzz. Yes, paper cuts happen and something out of your control happens. A supply chain issue or a product gets, we're on Amazon. So a product might get delisted from Amazon because they want to investigate you've used the word vagina. So they're going to
Yes.
investigate it. So they stop you from selling. I mean, things that are out of your control.
Right.
And so my team is so, uh, they have so much tenacity, I
Mm.
would say, because there's every day there's something and we try to anticipate everything, but some of this is unbelievable. You just can't make the stories up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think there for sure are some bigger things that I would have done differently. I guess I would have known the timeline to build a brand like this. When you're creating a new category, you're not just disrupting an existing category, it just takes longer.
Mm.
So perhaps I would have had a longer ramp up time and thought about, the fundraising differently.
Mm. Mhm.
Maybe I would have raised more money up front because I was overprescribed in that round. And even the second round, I was overprescribed. But had I even
Mhm.
raised more money at the beginning and had
Mhm.
it last longer, that
Mhm.
might have been a good strategy because, I think when you really think about it, everyone, when I say, oh, it takes longer when you're building a new category, especially for a consumer that's been largely ignored and a topic that's stigmatized still,
Mhm.
they're like, of course it's going to take longer, everyone, but no one said that at the beginning.
Until afterwards. They're
And
like,
it's like, okay.
I
We're all
didn't know
smart
this.
people here, but
Yeah.
you get excited. You get excited about the potential because it is a huge market and blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
you also have to remember that it takes longer,
Yes.
than you think it's going to be. And there's going to be a lot of hiccups along the way. So,
Mhm.
but
Two
don't give
times
up. Don't
longer.
give up.
Don't give up. Two times longer and two times more money, would you say, than what you expected? Is that your rule of thumb?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of capital
Mhm.
to do this right and be efficient. We're even operating pretty efficiently, but it still takes a lot because
Yeah.
again, we're changing a conversation, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And you have to reach this woman. I just got done saying all the different ways you have to reach her. So,
Mhm.
and if you only have enough money to reach her one way, your volume, your revenue is going to be that much smaller. So you have to
Right.
kind of decide, is it about revenue or is it about patience? Right now, all investors are talking about efficiency and profit.
Okay. Okay.
So we're on that. We're focused on
Mhm.
that, but it's hard when you're creating a new category,
Mhm.
especially only a year and a half old. So
And is that efficiency in the use of capital?
capital efficiency, definitely how you run your e-com business. Are you
Okay.
profitable on the first purchase? Do you break even?
Mhm.
That kind of thing. So
Okay.
they're all looking at efficiency of advertising dollars. I mean, every
Oh.
investors have always looked at CAC, but it's become
Mhm.
even more scrutinized now in terms of like your our your break even point on your ecom business because
Sure.
ecom is it's a great thing. It's a
Mhm.
for us it's been really wonderful, but it's
Mhm.
an expensive channel too. So
Mhm. Oh yeah, it's hard to get people to come to get to your land on your
right,
website
right,
and then
yeah,
stay there and convert.
right,
It's
exactly.
it's not easy.
What we need
Well,
are more marketplaces that are driving the traffic so they can be a great option too for our customers that want to just see all of women's health products together or
mhm, mhm.
health and beauty products. So we need more.
And you have I wouldn't say an expiration date, but you have a moat around the company right now because you don't have a lot of competitors because you are creating the category. So you need to be efficient in building that customer base
Yeah,
as fast as
exactly.
possible.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
You got it.
interesting. Well, you're doing a great job.
Thanks,
I commend
Patty.
you and Michelle. I love two co-founders working together too. I have to say I'm a little jealous, envious that you have a
It
co-founder
does
because
help because we're there for each other through thick and thin, and there's a
so
lot of there's a lot of thin.
yeah.
The days that in the hours where you need that support, and then they're there to celebrate too. So it's been
Yes,
fun, and we have a great team. So
that's awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck and with this holiday season. This is a great gift to give to any woman
thanks,
in your
Patty.
life. Gift cards, get a product, tell your husband. I mean, this is a
Yeah,
great gift for your
exactly.
husband too.
Yeah.
How thoughtful,
Right. No,
right?
I just had a husband reach out this weekend telling me that he got
Oh,
Womaness for his wife for Christmas. He was so
oh,
nice. And we do have a really fun holiday, like a quilted bag online with
okay.
the travel size of the works and let's snack and a little fan because we're all still, we're all hot,
Yeah,
not just literally, but figuratively. So, but yeah, there's some great gifts, and don't be afraid to give, like you said, women a body lotion or let's snack or a
yes,
vibrator.
yes. I love it. I We are having a number of products that we're talking about with menopause, and I think that people should not feel bashful about having the conversation with them because it's nothing to be embarrassed
Right.
about. It's
Exactly.
a
It's a
natural
normal.
progression in life. It's
Exactly.
like talking to our kids about puberty. Like, don't
Right.
be embarrassed about
Right.
it. We
Yeah.
all went through it.
Right.
So let's normalize it. Thank you for the emphasis in this space, Sally, the way that you are changing women's lives and your
Mhm.
emphasis on education. Everyone, please follow. We'll put some links
Okay,
in all
great.
of our promotions, especially this great gift set that you have for the holidays. And be sure to sign up for your newsletters, lots of
Thank
education
you.
there. And we will be sure to check back and in
Okay,
the spring
thanks,
with all these
Patty.
new products.
That's great. And we do have a private Facebook group called the After Party
Oh, great.
for
Okay,
women
so it's
that want to
after
join a
party.
community. It's run by, well, a lot of community members that have kind of
Mhm.
chimed in, but Ann Goebel on my team also runs it, and she's 52 and very fun, and she's right there with you, ladies.
Yeah,
So yeah, I encourage women to follow, to join that because it's a really great place for community. So
excellent. We'll post that too.
okay,
Thank you for doing that community. I know how important that is
yeah,
for your brand as well as more importantly for your customers. So thank you.
thanks,
Sally, it was an
Patty.
absolute pleasure to get to know you. Thank you for joining us today and happy holidays to you and yours.
Oh, you too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.